Monte Carlo Monaco hosts race 17. Oscar Volstad on pole from Revo and UK Ball in third. Then it's Sebastian Ocampo, David Camino, and Tommy starting in sixth. Fabness Jr. starts 7th from Jonathan Sims and Basti in 10th. Then it's Jack Carter starting 10th, Leo in 11th. Then T. Gabo starts 12th. Then it's the bottom 10 of Akari Lopez, Dash Sanchez, Daniel Botasarov, CC in 16th, P. Sierra, Santino Milan, Anot Kiwi in 19th with teammate Cosmos alongside. Then it's Lewis Olsen and Miguel de Souza. Well, then heading into the final 3 rounds, Volstad finds himself on pole with championship rivals along and beside him. All 5 lights go on. And we go green for the Monaco Prix. Covering off Revo is quite possibly the smartest thing that Volstad could have done, because now Revo's dropped off the back. He's dropped to 4th. Volstad drops to 2nd. UK Ball takes the lead. Revo's in fact dropped to 5th position. If he's not careful, he's going to drop behind the other McLaren car. So UK Ball leads the way from Oscar Volstad and David Camino. Revo's down in 6th now. Bastien Tan gets a time penalty as he collides with the back of Fabness Jr. Lunges to the outside, tries to get past David Camino, not quite able to. Ocampo's got a time penalty. Into the wall he's gone. There's yellow flags. And that is hectic opening few turns out of the race has just gone. P. Sierra and his teammate got a time penalty, presumably for causing that incident. Lap 1 of 19. And it's UK Ball who leads this race from Volstad and Dave Camino. Then it's Bastien Tan, Fabness Jr., Revo, Leo, Tommy, Ocampo, Sims, Akari, Carter. Scoring no points would hinder his championship hopes quite a bit. And it's Gabo, Dash Sanchez, Botasarov, CC, Anot Kiwi, Santino Milan, Cosmos, and the two dragons. And one of the dragons presumably has hit the wall. There are yellows in that 3rd sector. Not too sure who they were for, but oh, that's your answer. CC lost his front wing, and Jack Carter! Drivers coming into the pits, they've lost part of their front wings, of course, but Jack Carter has dropped to the back of the pack. He's lost his front wing as well. And this might be championship over for the Danish driver. Gets medium tyres onto his car. But I think that might just be it. This is looking to be a one-stop race, considering the low tyre degradation we've seen in practice. This could be a 2-stopper if people are going to be that ambitious. But my goodness me, this is championship over for Jack Carter. He's 5 seconds off the back of CC. This is it. We're going to have, heading into Abuja, UK Ball, Volstad, and Revo, your favourites to win the title. Because the form from Jack Carter is unacceptable. There's no other word for it, as Volstad sets a new fastest lap of 103.2. But that DS Automobiles car was a rocket ship in the early stages of the season. In the hands of Revo, at least. In the hands of Jack Carter, it's been iffy at best, as Miguel de Souza sets a 102.9, a new fastest lap. And to be honest, it's just been weird. Carter's won more races than Revo, but it's finished way less. And that's why he's behind his teammate in the standings. Volstad behind UK Ball on the road, trying to close in and take the lead, and his first Monte Carlo Prix victory. Yes, this race goes by both the Monaco and Monte Carlo Prix. Deal with it. But UK Ball, he's won this race before. The most important time he's won this race, of course, back in Season 10 as Volstad sets a 102.566, a new fastest lap. Back in Season 10 when UK Ball won this race, it was practically the race that saved his championship hopes and basically just said, you know what? I'm not just a title threat. I'm going to win this championship now, and you're going to have to like it. And I think UK Ball's going to do the same thing this season. It's been 8 seasons since his last title triumph. 8 seasons since everyone thought, oh yeah, UK Ball has hit his prime in performance. He's never gonna perform as good ever again. This changes everything. UK Ball leading the Monte Carlo Prix by a long mile as Jack Carter steals the fastest lap at 102.266. And to be honest with you, that's all Carter can do, really. he can only really set fastest laps at this point. He had front wing damage. He was already outside of the top 10. It's just been an abysmal weekend for the Dane. As on to lap 5 we go. Babinus Jr., following in his father's footsteps, having a pretty good showing here in Monaco. On board with Babinus Jr. And while his father has been involved in multiple title challenges, he hasn't been in a title challenge this season. Camino setting the fastest first sector, currently in third, and doing his best to help out his teammate by applying pressure to Oscar Folstad, applying pressure to the wounds of yesteryear, the multiple times he's seen failed attempts at winning races just because of crashes, tire failures, drivers getting past him, penalties, the hell that Folstad has had to endure this season. And it might not be over, as Akari gets a time penalty. He's hit the wall, hit the back of his teammate, and he's got to puncture Leo with a front brake puncture. Oh dear, that is not how the Aurelio man would have wanted his race to go, and he slides. He's been hit by T Gabo. That's going to be a massive shot. Two cars there, Cosmos and Miguel de Souza involved in hitting and out of the race. Oh, that's a massive, massive shunt there. Lewis Olsen involved in that crash. And Leo is out of the Prix. Virtual safety car flies once again. Cosmos is into the pits. Bogdasarov in with 6 laps done. These are some very, very early stops. And when I say early, I mean it. The soft tires, yeah, they're not holding up as much as drivers would have thought. 54%. But the mediums, they're doing really well. 61%. And 72, although that is Das Sanchez post lap 1, and there's still yellows in the second, and that's David Camino. I was about to say that's UK ball, but thankfully it's not. Babinus Jr. also meets the wall, coming through that chicane as more yellows in that third sector. UK ball has in fact hit the wall, and he's lost his front wing. Same for Folstad, who hits the wall again. Same for UK ball, who hits the wall again. And I think we might see Revo come in. He does peel into the pits a lot cleaner than his 2 title rivals, so he can rub that salt into the wounds. Lap 7 of 19, and Camino leads the way. And that's quite the hectic action we've seen coming through that sector. But it is Camino who leads the way from Bastian Tan and the 2 blue Venturis in 3rd and 4th. Ocampo currently 5th from Sims and Akari. Bogdasarov fastest 3rd sector of anyone. And Revo, I think he might just try and get 3rd here. I don't know if he's going to be able to close in on UK ball enough to get past him on the road, as there are yellows once again. And that's that's Babinus Jr. in the wall. Sliding is Ocampo. Spinning also. Oh, that's a massive shunt for Sims. And that's an overtake for Jonathan Sims. Kari getting a time penalty somehow as he hit the wall. As Folstad and UK ball also having to be slowed down, and that's put Revo right on their gearboxes. On board with the double champion, Bastian Tan, Tommy, and yes, David Camino all in the pit. So Babinus Jr. leading the way as Ocampo gets passed by Folstad. We've just seen, for the first time in championship history, an overtake. I hope that's a thumbnail shot for you guys. But we're approaching half race distance with Babinus Jr. leading the way from Camino and Oscar Folstad. On board with the number 4, the DS McLaren TGR, trying to take 2nd place away from the Braun Honda in front of him as ahead. Oh, that's quite the fight. Ocampo gets passed by UK ball, sends one down the inside, into the wall, he's gone. And he's created a bit of a blockade there. Virtual safety car is out of the race, has gone Sebastian Ocampo. And he's kind of blocked Revo there. Gabo gets another 5-second time penalty. And yeah, that is about as much help as UK Ball's going to get in this championship, going for another World Drivers title, as Volstad has cleared his teammate. Team orders down at McLaren basically saying papaya rules. And oh, that's a spin! Oh dear, Lewis Olsen on his side out of the E3. Oh, that's massive. As Milan having to endure that on board with him. As Cosmos also in a bit of a pickle. And oh, that's big shunt. The two dragons colliding. Another virtual safety car with 10 laps left on the clock. And Carter's picking off positions by drivers retiring. He's still at the back of the pack. And Sanchez comes in for a second stop. CC's in for a second stop. There is a high likelihood of this being a two-stopper. VSC is ending. And Camino leads us to green. From Volstad and Bastian Tan, then it's Cable and Revo, the top five. Bob Bassar right behind the Italian. And it seems like this race is going to be yet another race of attrition along the streets of Monaco. More than that, it's likely going to be yet another wreckfest. A race decided on who's got the better tyre wear. Fastest second sector goes to Revo. The man currently in fifth with 9 laps left to run. And, oh, that was almost the wall for T. Gabo. Took my attention away from the screen for just a second. Gabo gets passed by Sims. He's the man who's made the championship's first ever overtaken. Gabo's got a puncture. That's why he was struggling out there. Kari Lopez, by the way, 15 seconds worth of time penalties, but Gabo with a puncture, second man with a puncture, but luckily for him, able to come in as soon as humanly possible. Carter likely to pit very soon, but he's, for the time being, 15th and getting a good slipstream on Miguel de Souza. I swear, bro, if this man somehow wins the Prix, it will be one of the biggest comeback stories of the century. As down the inside on Cosmos goes Miguel de Souza. These two basically fighting for chumps change as they both got time penalty, but there goes Jack Carter down the inside. He's a man with a mission in the Prix. And he's only up to 13th currently. He started this race in 10th, so he's still not even back up to where he started. Lap 11, Camino still leading the way from Volstad and Bastian Tan. Cable within the 5 seconds of Bastian, so he'd currently be third, which is going to help his title hopes a lot. Tommy gets a new fastest lap of 102.250. In his DS Venturi, we're looking at his teammates in Babinus Jr. as they climb the hill towards Casino Square. Don't go gambling, kids. As Inocui comes in for his second stop. This is likely to be a two-stop race, as on board with David Camino we go. Been leading this race for quite a while, but I think his time management skills might just win him from a cup here in Monaco. Cable struggling with the tyres a lot more than he would have hoped. Similar story for Revo, who, had it not been for Ocampo, would probably be right on the gearbox, if not ahead of Cable. But that's not how things are currently. It's always if, with multiple championships like this. But once again, to paraphrase Max Verstappen, if my mother had balls, she would be my dad. But she's not got balls, and she's not my dad. She's my mother. On lap 12 of 19, we're currently on. 7 laps left to run. And Jack Carter, by the way, would currently finish this race 10th. So, the recovery drive so far showing some fruits of his labor, but not a lot. 1 point in this title battle when your title contenders are scoring 10, 12, 18 points, and you only score 1. This is not the kind of performance DS Automobiles would like to see, and it just makes sense as to why it seems like they're going to be dropping him at the end of the season. Still with T. Gabo closing in on Carter. 6 laps left to run. Big field spread. And someone, yeah, that's Akari Lopez, basically all on his own in this race, as coming through that chicane is Miguel de Souza. Gabo trying to close in on Carter. You've seen a lot of drivers getting penalties. All of them have been for collisions. Not one of them has been for track limits. Down the inside goes Volstad, back on Bastian Tan. The two McLaren drivers fighting over second on the, oh my goodness, that's a wall for Oscar Volstad. Was going to say they're fighting for second on the road, because of course Bastian would still drop behind Volstad no matter what. as Cosmos comes in for his second stop. If we can go on board with your other Mahindra man from Indonesia, his teammate sets a new fastest lap for 101.8. We could see some sub 1 minute lap times here. And once you see the sub 1 minutes, that's when you expect more wrecks to happen, because these drivers, they've got the most skill of any drivers that you'll ever see. As on to lap 14 of 19, we go on board with Bogdasar as he's fighting with Sims, defending from Sims, but he can't defend for too much longer. He sends it down the inside and into the wall. The Frenchman hits the wall. UK ball comes into the pits on lap 14 of 19. He's the first of the top 5 to pull the trigger. His teammate is leading this race, and his lead's only getting bigger as Bogdasarov comes in after hitting the wall. And Akari Lopez inherits P9. Of course, that 15-second time penalty not helping matters. Not, it's hindering them. The Camno leads the way. Yellow's in the second sector. And who's that for? I couldn't quite make out who it was for. But it's probably for someone further back. Not too sure who it could have been for, though. But, of course, they'll likely come into the pits no matter what. Camno rising through Anthony No's turn. And we're on to 4 laps left to run. And with Revo now in 4th, Folstad in 3rd, I think Bastian getting ahead currently. If he can pull out that gap, that might have just killed his teammates' hopes of closing in closer to the championship. Tommy comes in then for what should be his final stop in this race. And UK Ball, yeah, he's definitely going to be ahead of both Revo and Folstad unless a virtual safety car happens when the two men are about to make their pit stops and they're still in the race. But on board with David Camno, whose tyres looking a lot worse for wear. I'd expect Braun to pull him in as close to the wall, but just about keeping it out of the two men leading this race in Camno. And Bastian Tan! Folstad hits the wall! No damage, but I'd expect him to come in pretty soon. Looks like he had a bit of a tank slapper. Did the McLaren driver. Struggling with his tyres. That's probably going to be the main running theme of this race for drivers who didn't finish. Bastian Tan comes in, so his teammate will inherit P2, but it's not going to be a P2 he's going to be too chuffed with. As Revo also comes into the pits for soft tyres, which will see him to the end of the race. He's relinquished the position, fast up to UK Ball. Yellows in the second sector. And those yellows are for CC. More yellows flying in the second sector. Track's been cleared once again. Babinas Jr. comes in, and it's for Jack Carter, who once again for a second time in the C Prix has got damage and is going to have to pit on the same lap as his teammate. So DS Automobiles might see themselves having a little slower pit stop. They've put him onto the medians. And more yellows in that second sector. It's for the race leader, David Camno in the barriers. On board with Folstad as he comes up to this part of the track. And he's also in the wall. Folstad hits the barriers and he's hit him hard. UK Ball comes up to the back of the McLaren man. His teammates and his championship rival both having major difficulties coming through that chicane. Tommy currently ahead of Revo as it would stand. And he would not actually be able to get ahead. Camno should be able to get past. Yes, he does come in. Folstad also into the pits. UK Ball inherits the race lead with 2 laps left to run. He might be on for yet another win in the streets of Monaco with 2 laps left to run. This could be it. This could be the landmark lap for the Briton. Revo, his title, one of his 3 other title contenders, is going to finish today in 4th as it would stand, unless he can get past Tommy Bastian Tan, closing in on the Briton ahead of him. Tyres, fires, and overtakes where you go over the cars. Those are the topics that they'll be talking about after this race. Those are the topics they'll be talking about for 23 days after this race before we return in Nigeria for race 18. But Babinas Jr. in the number 14, currently in 5th, defending from Camno and Folstad. Folstad, that wreck might have just handed that position in the championship. He might have just which solidified himself in third in the championship for good. But on to the penultimate lap we go. UK Ball is leading this race from Bastian Tan and Tommy. And Revo right now, the one thing he'd like to see more than anything is third position, because that's all he can realistically get, unless Bastian Tan has a massive issue, unless UK Ball has a massive issue. It's gonna be third. And that which Revo is hoping for, as his countryman T Gabo comes into the pits alongside him, is an Arcueil for their third and final pit stops. But UK Ball currently ahead of Bastian Tan as we're on board with the Philippine number 22. Coming into the chicane that's taken out so many drivers before them, so close to the wall. Both of them are. But Tommy, he's doing his best to gap Revo. But this is where the DS Automobiles car stings through the low speed turns. And of course, with a lot of street tracks on the calendar, the low speed has been what has helped Revo win the races he has won so far. But on to the final lap we go. UK Ball leads from Bastian Tan and Tommy, the top two. Even if Bastian gets past, he'd have to build up a 3-second gap, which would be a 5-second gap rather, which would be very hard to do with this current specification of cars. Bastian Tan setting a fastest first sector on the back of UK Ball, trying to take points away from him to help his teammates in his title fight. But Revo also setting a fastest first sector of anyone. As it would stand, Bastian would drop outside of the podium, and coming into the final few turns, that's very close to the wall for UK Ball, but he's just about held on to the car. It's been one of those seasons for the Briton, one of those where you've got to wonder, can he just do it? He's the boy who could. He's the man who could be the second man in championship history to win a second title, but you'll only find out in the next 2 rounds. UK Ball comes across the line, and he will win in Monte Carlo. Bastian Tan steals the fastest lap. Tommy's going to come home with third on the road. Revo's going to be fourth on the road, but is he within that gap? Tommy steals fastest lap. Revo sets a 1 dead. Baroness Jr. steals the fastest lap, a 1:0.333. Revo will be fourth in classification, as here comes Jack Carter alongside Cosmos coming through the chicane, as into the wall does go Cosmos. Gabo behind them, setting a fastest second sector of anyone. Miguel de Souza's going to come across the line for the net 11th, and ignoring penalties being applied, as there goes Santino Milan ahead of an Arcueil, just about keeping it safe. It's going to be a dead heat to the line. He's just behind. And this is the podium then. UK Ball wins in Monte Carlo from Bastian Tan and Tommy. This win is going to mean a lot to the Briton. Then it's Revo, Baroness Jr., Camno, Falstad, Bogdasarov and Jonathan Sims. Then Daf Sanchez, the top 10, Miguel de Souza and Jack Carter not scoring points, and what could be a very valuable race. Akari Lopez is 13th from CC and Cosmos. Then it's Anarcueil, T Gabo, Santino Milan, and the rest of your finishers, with your non-finishers being Lewis Olsen, Sebo Campo, Leo and P. Serra. In the driver standings, Revo is currently in second behind in UK Ball. UK Ball leading the way on 207 points. That's 14 ahead of Revo. Is that 14 ahead? No, it's 7 ahead of Revo. I can't read anymore. Then behind them is Falstad and Jack Carter tied on 181 points. Then it's Bastian Tan, Daf Sanchez, Baroness Jr., David Camino, top 8. Then it's Sebo Campo, Tommy, Jonathan Sims, Miguel de Souza, Santino Milan, P. Sierra, CC, Anarcueil, T. Gabo, Akari Lopez, Cosmos, Daniel Bogdasarov, Leo and Lewis Olsen. And in the constructors standings, heading into the final 2 race sprints of Abuja and London, DS Automobiles leads the way on 375 points from DS McLaren TGR and Braun Honda GP. Then it's Andretti Honda, DS Venturi Formula 18, Sims Motorsport, Nissan Nismo, Aurelio Mahindra, Version Renault, Dragon Renault, and Aurelio Pinnacle. Version Renault finally ahead of their customer team for the first time in a long time. But we'll see you guys next time then on Christmas Eve for the Abuja Prix.